What's up, everybody? It's Mikey124 here. I got a different type of gameplay for you and a different type of commentary, so just bear with me. So, the feeling of nostalgia can be brought on multiple different ways. Apparently, the most common way, or the most effective way, that one can feel nostalgic is through smell. For instance, if you go to your grandma's house and it smells like mothballs when you're 5 years old, and then when you're 20 years old, you smell mothballs again, just somewhere like in your sock drawer or something, it'll remind you of your grandma. And I mean, that makes sense. But for me, the feeling of nostalgia has always been brought on most heavily by forms of media. And music, obviously, is one of them. I went through so many different phases of liking music that I can literally hear a band and be like, oh, I liked that band when I was 13. It makes me think of when I was 13 again. Obviously, movies can be another one for me, and obviously games can be one of them. That's where this comes in. What you're watching right now is Earthworm Jim. If you guys have never heard of this, or yeah, just like curious, it was a game made back in the early to mid 90s. I can't remember who developed it, but it was basically your standard platformer game. It side-scroller 2D. It was made to be fun. It was when platformers were popular and everyone was making kind of family-friendly platformers like Mario and other side-scroller games that were generally accepted within the whole family. Mom and dad could sit down and watch you play it, and nobody's going to be repulsed or anything. Earthworm Jim, on the other hand, was a booger-slinging, head-whipping, gun-shooting, foul-mouthed, groovy little space alien worm who, yeah, it was just a fun game. It was back when I played games because they made me laugh, they entertained me, and they were challenging at the same time. Today, games are so focused on being serious and making that buck that they basically just like appeal to the masses. And I guess they were doing that back then too, but it was just in such a time that it was still also new. The Super Nintendo came out only 5 years after the original Nintendo came out, and there was drastic changes already. For me, I haven't seen, aside from like graphics and what's the word I'm looking for? I guess like artificial intelligence, maybe just like the programming in general. I don't see too much difference between like Xbox and Xbox 360. I feel like the systems are pretty much the same, and they function in pretty much the same ways. Xbox 360 is just basically like the Bentley of Xboxes. And yeah, I'm sorry for going off topic a little bit, but what I was getting at was back when games like Earthworm Jim were first coming out, it seemed like so much more of a fresh feeling. Games were not as mainstream as they are now, and it was just refreshing to play something fun and new and play it because it was fun. Not playing it because of achievements or gamer score or trophies or player level, whatever the equivalent is. It was all about playing a game because you like to do it, and that's what made you happy. I get the feeling of nostalgia from games like this. For example, I'm playing this on my Xbox Live Arcade right now. Well, last night I was playing it, and it definitely brings me back. It makes me think of where and when I first played this game, who I played it with first, and stuff like that. I guess my girlfriend always says I do have a really good memory, but I do think about stuff like this often. Nostalgic feelings and like listening to a song that makes me think of 7th grade or 8th grade. Playing games that are old school definitely makes me think of old school times as well. I was trying to think of what type of game I should put on this commentary. A couple of weeks back, I did a Rainbow Six Vegas 2 commentary in which I played some Terrorist Hunt, and I talked about my history of gaming. And I wanted to do something similar to that in this video, and I just like was coming to a blank of what gameplay I should use. So it struck me that I should probably use some old school gameplay. And while I was going to download some emulators and ROMs and play some like old school Super Nintendo or NES games, I figured it was just easier for me to hop on my live arcade and play some Earthworm Jim. So that's the explanation of why you guys are seeing Earthworm Jim. Please leave comments. Let me know if you guys want to see more old school gameplays, because the next one of these commentaries that I do is, I don't know, it's up to you guys, whatever you guys want to see. I love leaving it up to my subs. You guys are the best, and yeah, it makes me feel good when you guys give me feedback. I'm sorry for digressing so much. So I wanted to talk about my history of gaming a little bit more. I wanted to talk about where and when I first started gaming. I was born in 1987 in Chicago, and then I think a year later we moved to Bolingbrook, which is a suburb of Chicago. And then about 2 years later, when my brother was first born, we moved to all the way to West Palm Beach, Florida, which is a hike. I mean, my dad got a job opportunity. I'm sorry, and yeah, we followed it, and I mean, I had a great childhood. I'm not complaining at all. Like I loved Florida, and this was kind of when I won't say that I stopped gaming so much at all, but I definitely was more of an outdoorsy kid when we lived in Florida. I mean, who's not an outdoorsy kid that lives in Florida? It's so much easier to want to be outside when the weather's nice all the time, not like here in Illinois. But anyways, it was in Florida when I really remember starting to game. I know we played the regular Nintendo when I was a kid. I don't remember ever not having a regular Nintendo. It came out in '85, and like I mentioned, I was born in '87, so I think my dad bought it for himself, or maybe for my older sister. Who knows? She was only a couple years old too, so I'm pretty sure it's probably for him. But yeah, I remember playing games like Excite Bike, and obviously Duck Hunt and the original Mario, and I actually had a DuckTales game too with the Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I think Scrooge McDuck might have been in that game too. But yeah, I remember the first like platformer game that like I really I don't know what you'd call beat 'em up games, I guess, like the original beat 'em up game that like got me into these types of games was the Ninja Turtles arcade game. One of the hardest games ever, but very, very fun, and you could play it with 2 players. And yeah, I definitely remember, I feel like if there was a game that I spent more time on than any on regular Nintendo, that was it. From the time that I was like 5 or so to 8, I played a ton of Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo came out a couple years after regular Nintendo, I think in '89 or '90 or somewhere around that. Probably about 5 years after the regular Nintendo had come out, and I played the crap out of a ton of games. But like I said, it was just kind of in Florida. Everybody's an outdoorsy kid, so I play the crap out of games, but it was more just like for the fun of it, the enjoyment of it, the social aspect of it. My friends would get games, or my brother would get a game, or my sister would get a game, and you'd play it as a group. You'd play it as a party. You'd have some party gaming, and party systems way back before the party systems. But yeah, I remember playing or being super excited for games like, I was into fighting games a lot when I was a kid. Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct. There was a Ninja Turtles fighting game too, Tournament Fighters, Street Fighter, obviously. Yeah, these were all games that I played socially, like just with my friends whenever I could. If my dad would play with me or anybody would play with me, that was just like the greatest experience ever, to be able to sit down and yeah, play some of these old school games. I loved a lot of RPGs when I was a kid too. I think the first RPG I ever played was Earthbound. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it. It was on Super Nintendo, and kind of a bizarre game. When you got into like the fight sequences or whatever, it it like went into like first person almost. It was like a first person RPG, but it was definitely interesting, and I liked it. From there on, I moved to Super Mario RPG, which was back when Square was SquareSoft still, and they were still making great titles. Super Mario RPG was a brilliant game. It was uh, just like one of the best games I've ever played. It was very well balanced. It had a great set of characters, and the story was incredible. It taught me the value of story in a game. Before this time, I had just been accustomed to beating people up in games, and Super Mario RPG definitely taught me that games could be a lot more than that. I played other RPGs on Super Nintendo. I played Final Fantasy 3, which I believe is Final Fantasy 6 in Japan, and I played. I don't know if you guys consider Zelda: Link to the Past an RPG, but I feel like that was definitely one of the very first games I ever 100%ed. I beat all the bosses, got all the secret items, like the secret magic items. I got the invisibility cloak and like yeah, all those like tablets or whatever that could let you shoot magic out. I did everything in that game. And by this time, I feel like this is right around third grade, and this in the summer in between third and fourth grade, we moved once again to Kansas, Orland Park, Kansas, which is in the middle of the country. It's in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't really have too many friends, so I spent a lot of time doing solitary gaming. I played. I was still playing the Super Nintendo, but this was right around '95, and that's when the PS1 came out. And I guess I was a spoiled kid. My mom got me a PS1 like right when it came out, and I got on. I think Mortal Kombat was one of the first games I got, but also Resident Evil 1 and the original Tomb Raider. And I think I'm just about out of time, and I got a ton of PS1 stuff to talk about. So if you guys want to hear the rest of this commentary, leave a comment in the box. Let me know also what gameplay you guys want to see. I can maybe try and get a ramen emulator. So if you guys got old school game requests, let me know. I hope you guys like this video. Alright, have a good one. Peace out, guys.
Groovy!